I won't lose to anyone. Take this.
Oh, it's a pretty fast dizzy.
I'm at the scene. You didn't see this coming.
I hit the Rylet? Okay. Yeah, you did.
Requesting approval. And granted. Removing restrictions. Charge! Leave it to me. I will show you the power of strongest.
Yeah, this is pure BM. 3 man. Anyways, I'm making a Landy showcase video, so this will be part of it. Anyways, she's really good now though. She's really good now. This analogy is just ... It's okay, just accept it. Yeah, so okay, it's on Bastion. So right here, there's only 2 buffs. So we're not gonna get it because I can't proc her into stealth.
Why not surrender?
So just to rely on this cleave itself is not enough. Yeah, so that's not enough because I didn't knock her into stealth. I mean, we could still win, but this is gonna be scuffed, so...
I'm on my way. I am the strongest. Nixie is the strongest. Freeze.
See, Falconer clearly goes... Lilius is the one that's not...
Let's play together.
Good.
Okay, well these dual attacks are pretty lucky, I won't lie.
Witness my power.
Oh, it's a Moonlight Dreamblade. It doesn't matter, we still win, because if RB dies, then we just cleave. Yeah, we win.
I'll be your opponent. Descending blade.
Do I think Cerise buffs are good for the game? Wait. For the game? Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't think she's like unstoppable. I think she is a bit over buffed though. She's a bit overtuned, in my opinion.
I'll show you my
Yeah, okay, so 1... nah, that's not enough. That's not enough.
Now's my time to shine.
So, because Mercer most likely would he shield dodge. So, that's 1 more buff, but that's not enough.
Get ready. I'm at the scene. Look at me. I said look at me.
Like, we most likely still win it, but still, not really a Landy showcase if you can't double cleave.
Freeze.
Let me think about this, actually. Hold on. Bazaar... Oxlot. If I could get Oxlots up just a bit faster, we might be able to Landy cleave it. Hold on, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna take out the... It's probably Water's Origin, right? I'm gonna take out Bazaar. Oh shoot! What the heck? Okay, never mind. I'm sorry, I think you're dead. Well, the dual attack kind of screwed it. So I wanted Oxlots to get Soul Burn and then double turn and do Landy cleave, but let's try it.
You charge, I counter.
Ah, that's good. That's good. This is perfect. Okay, this is good. Unless Celine kills me. No, on the attack EE feels bad. Get baited, son.
Taking point. Why not surrender?
I mean, I could do it again. That T-Cern is dead if my drink procs. And yeah, I could do it again. I'm gonna burn it.
Full frontal assault. That's an order.
See ya! See ya!
Did you see that? Aren't I amazing?
I don't think so, man. I don't think so, man. That's weird.
I'll show you my ability.
Oh, there's only... Oh, no, that's fine. Wait, this is better. So ML Crawl without FCC is very prone to Landy cleave, and that is a pretty fast Bazaar. So I'm actually glad I went with the speed imprint. I might as well double it because her S1 hits really hard, but C-Dom slow burn is better. Oh boy. Oh baby, baby.
I will show you the power of strongest. Nick Seed. I am the strongest.
Yeah, I needed that speed imprint actually.
More reliable than Flan, aren't I?
Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. Today I'm gonna go through a Landy showcase. I'm gonna make it very clear though, this Landy showcase is not like all types of builds. I know there's two prominent builds right now. One is the kind of like the heavy cleave build, so like lower speed, uses oxalots, or if anything, if you can figure out Athletica attack buffer sort of team with a hero that can give her souls, that can work I think, but it's very situational. It's a lot better with oxalots. Into the defense meta right now in terms of like arena, Guild War, you'll be able to see like a splash of teams that may potentially work with Landy cleave, which is what I'm gonna call it here, Landy cleave. She is sort of like J. Kisei, but a better version, but a different version as well. All right, so this is not a bruiser Landy talk, so not talking about the immunity type, but if you're interested in building a Landy like this and you see the showcase and you're inspired to do it, definitely do it. I think it's not that hard to achieve the stats I have here. I'll show you the substat rules. There's a lot of wasted stats, for example effectiveness here. I mean the defense and the beefiness can come in handy. Landy is relatively squishy in terms of defense, but pretty decent in terms of the HP. She has pretty high HP pool, being a Leo Ranger, same as Assyria. And there you go. Those are the stats. So on attack boot, I like her on speed set. You know, arguably you could think about destruction set, maybe even attack set. But I think speed set is pretty good just because, you know, who has time to farm Golem, and destruction gear don't usually, you know, I mean it depends on how where you farm, but I think for me Wyvern is the way to go. Immunity would be nice on her, but if you are going to use her with oxalots, if anyone can control the team, your oxalots is sort of screwed anyway, or you didn't bring the right heroes. So I think crit set to make the damage stats go up higher or quicker. Mine is not imprinted. When I pulled for her, of course it was on her original banner. This is a dev buffed version. She's a lot better now. I don't think she was really usable. She had a lot of problems, but if you watch my videos, you know what all those problems are. So let's just skip that. Rengar specialty drink, very good for this build, because it can eat through Tempest Surin even with Aureus. So generally, if you cleave Tempest Surin, let's say it's not FCC, there's no barrier, there's an Aureus, you still can't hit her for 50% of her health. So you can't 2-tap her, and she'll go into stealth right away unless you get another AoE to like unburrow her out of the ground, out of her stealth. Rengar specialty drink takes care of that, although mine is at 27. I guess I could put a bottle of knowledge in there. Yeah, roll the 5%. Roll the 5% chance of not getting it. It's spicy. It keeps it spicy. But that extra splash damage helps put Tempest Surin into her place, so that in the next cleave, in the double cleave that you can potentially do with Landy, she'll be able to die on her second cleave. Remnant Violet as well, very solid with Rengar specialty drink, since it just ignores it, defense penetrates and it just ignores his miss or whatever. It's just pure scaling on your total attack. Quickly rundown of her skills and why it's really good, why I like her in the Oxalot C-Dom sort of cleave comp, just because increased speed for all allies, CR boost for all allies, 15%, so you can lower your gear requirements for C-Dom in a Guild War fight, especially. Let's say if you go Oxalot's J. Kisei C-Dom, if your C-Dom is too slow and Ruel is on Water's Origin, you're gonna proc Water's Origin twice. She might cut your C-Dom, right? Because most likely J. Kisei might have killed someone on the Guild War defense team, and then so therefore you lack a target to crit. And the Water Origin, don't look down on it. 16% is a huge cut. She can get 32 if your J. Kisei hits her twice and she doesn't die, and then your C-Dom might not cut. But with Landy, With Landy, you have a CR boost, 15%. That is usually enough to, counteract the water's origin, even ever so slightly. But the thing is that her first cleave, when I say first cleave, second cleave, if you don't know how Landy's mechanics work, don't worry, I'm going to explain it a bit, but you'll see it in the showcase. But if you do, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The first cleave is usually the weaker cleave. It might not kill a target. The second cleave, for sure, most likely the target is dead. And in that case, she's also better for pushing CDOM as well. So anyways, with the CR boost, with the speed buff for Oxlot, CDOM, everything feels really good here. When the fighting spirit is full, consumes all fighting spirit to penetrate defense by 50%. A huge buff. So this is again post dev buff. Huge buff on Landy's account. She becomes one of the strongest, like single-handedly one of the strongest AoE damage dealers in the game, just because she has 50% defense penetration. She has innate kind of like a Spectenny sort of like ramp up damage, kind of like a Robbie's passive, Spectenny's damage. Ramp up on the attack, and then they changed her in the dev buff to grant an extra turn as well, which is why she actually begins working like a J Kisei, because she can double cleave with enough buffs on the table. This skill cannot trigger counterattack. This makes her really good against Charles, against ML Ken, which are generally used in guild war defense roughly, and maybe not at the top of the top, because the top guilds are always swapping, but you're gonna see a splash of ML Ken or Charles here or there. Most of the guild war defenses, the first thing is that like you don't want them to cleave. And even arena as well, arena defense as well, they have that mentality, how do I keep them from cleaving me? Selene is a very popular option right now to counteract this. That's a whole other thing, but let's say they don't run a Selene, or they don't have a Selene. Landy again, still very good, no counterattack. So counterattack RBs, most likely they're dead. We'll talk about that, and I think I do showcase like a lot of variants. So I think this is going to be a full-fledged thing that you can consider if you want to build Landy and you don't want to build a bruiser for RTA, and that would be my go-to for RTA, bruiser immunity. You can consider this. Pretty cheap. Like I said, I showed the stats on the gear. It's not super crazy. So how she works is that she starts with 50 fighting spirit, as you can read in the skill description. For every buff the enemy team has on her turn, she gets 10 fighting spirit. 100 fighting spirit resets her cooldown or grants her the stronger version of her S3, the defense penetration version. All right. So let's say if you're fighting an FCC, and most FCCs are built on immunity, in an arena scenario, that's already 5 buffs. So as soon as you Oxlots push Landy, she will go to full fighting spirit, and therefore her S3 is ready for the 50% defense penetration. This won't be good enough though. This won't be good enough to kill through, unless you have some insane build, but I still don't think so. I'm on a skeptical side on that one. Maybe portrait in that case, if you're going for like a one-shot, like one turn cleave, or you just see it on push and then you have another cleaver to clean up. Someone like an RB, or yeah, someone like an RB, maybe even Ludwig, if you need. So if you soul burn on, let's say like the FCC team, it grants an extra turn. You won't be able to cleave again. All right, so that's the key. But if you have, let's say, a team of ML Crow, Tempest Surin, RB, and let's say Rowana, and let's say they're all on immunity, that's 4, right? Maximum up to 4. It gets tricky if you fight like a Remnant Violet team and you're not sure how many immunity is on that team. Remnant Violet has an evasion buff up all the time. If you see like a Briar Witch Assyria, maybe even a Cerise or Athletica, the slower ones, they might have a guiding light, so that might screw up the amount of buffs you have. But let's say if they have anything less than 5, you'll be able to cleave with this and guarantee it, because she doesn't strip, right? So even if there's no ML Crow on that turn, ML Crow is just a good example, because you hit ML Crow, he pops a barrier, 100% you're gonna get your full fighting spirit. Your second turn, because you grant an extra turn, you'll be able to cleave again, but then this time with a 50% defense penetration. That's how I like to use her, really. So in terms of like J Kisei, J-Keys is very strong on the S2, and then the second cleave is where she actually lacks damage. Landy, if used rightly, if you want to go double AoE, the first one will lack damage, the second one will go guaranteed to kill. The only thing is that she has drink, so for that extra splash damage, again, like I said, into Remnant Violets, into even fire heroes, like even if you miss like a Kairon or something, this might be able to proc him into his immortal, and then that can set up for other stuff. You guys will see my fights, the showcase. This before the buff was, I think, up to only 50% stack. I think it was 10% 5 stacks, so equals 50% attack. Now it's 20%. I don't have enough catalyst. I can't max mold this. I will though, because I actually love using her. 20% 3 times stack, so 60% attack. But that is after a lot of turns. So in Oxalot's fight, you'll benefit from it a bit, but it won't be super high. This is why some people argue that, oh, build her higher attack, lower the crit damage. You definitely have to do the math on that. I would definitely, pop the numbers into a calculator. I side on crit damage for her, just because, like, most likely crit damage, most of the time it's like immediate damage result, whereas attack, you still need to calculate, like, how, like, do you have an external attack buff, and does that extra 20% attack on 4,235 actually merit, let's say, 20% more crit damage that you can get from a substat roll. So yeah, I'm ranting a bit, but let's keep moving. And then the S1 hits really hard. It's at a 1x mod, at least documented. It's a 1x mod. It feels like a 1.1, maybe even 1.2 sometimes. I don't get it. It feels really good. If they're buffed, you double your fighting spirit and also the combat readiness if they're buffed. So this skill is very, very good. This skill is very good. So basically you can get 20 fighting spirit and 30 CR boost, combat readiness boost, if they're buffed, if you hit them with the S1 and they're buffed. This does work on a dual attack. So if you get lucky with a dual attack and Landy is the attacker, she gets the benefits of this as well. So it's very good, and I think it's this as well. I think it does increase her stack if you do attack, but that requires some RNG, so we're not gonna make that into the calculation. So overall, love her a lot, and hopefully you guys enjoy the showcase. Alright, so first things first, we'll start with some guild war. This is Abdar. I have put out an individual video on this one, Iggy versus Mori. And for this one, it's a good showcase against really top opponents. Usually they will be on immunity, easier to calculate without FCC, and a very good showcase of the non-counterattack aspect. I mean, Charles is pretty decent for anti-cleave, and he's decent to counter people who go like heavy tank, because he can do it a lot of damage over time. Second one here versus Paula, also in the same guild war. This one was a bit off calculated. I did not expect Tempest Siren stealth, which you will see in a sec, to kick in. Otherwise, without the stealth, this one would not work. You need a total of 5 buffs by the time of your second cleave. So that is 5, because the stealth came in. So I said it in the video, all calculated, but no, I actually wasn't. That's why I was stumped at the beginning. I've been very good. This one was on a portrait. Drink would be better versus T-Siren. This is versus Deviants. Also another top guild. Kwangas. Also immunity. You can guarantee it. And we have MLCan and Charles both showcasing that the non-counter mechanic on her S3. Very, very good. CDOM here for backup on the Lilius there. That was a really fast Lilius, by the way. It was probably about like 200 and 260, maybe 265 speed.
The power of Nixie. I am the strongest.
The soul burn.
How do I look? I'm more reliable than Flan, aren't I?
Versus I'm Rico Suave, also one of the members in Deviants. Also saw another one here. This was Remnant Violet. So Remnant Violet has evasion. So showing off the drink damage with her and penetrate defense on the next hit. So just showcasing again the versatility of Landy versus people with buffs, with T-Siren, Remnant Violet, all prominent on the defense. Look at that damage, 6,000. I did hit that last one, but he would have been dead anyway if I missed. We do some arena here. This was the beginning at my experiment for a Landy cleave. Try to usually avoid FCC. As you can see here, the first turn I already have the ultimate cleave, so pointless to burn, which is perfect because I do have other cleavers here. So in this one I wanted to bring in my Pavel, which I've always promised that I would make a Pavel showcase. I have all the clips, it's just I haven't put it together, and Landy came first because Landy was more exciting to use as a cleaver. She's better to invest in and to build, so I felt that her showcase is higher priority than Pavel. Otherwise, Pavel, really good like cleanup cleaver. He's a really good dedicated cleaver too. In this one, really good because again his S2 cleave doesn't proc counter, so 2 non-counter AoE cleave. I think that's the future for cleave, honestly. Start investing into cleavers that can not trigger counters, because counter and evasion are 2 of the biggest mechanics in countering cleave. Either like a skill based counter like SSB or Celine, or like counter set like RNG with like sets and Elbrus. That's my thoughts at least. So Pavel is a good investment anyway, but Landy here is the highlight. Yeah, this was all during the blind day, so I didn't know who I was hitting, which I felt was a bit better because this way, like, you know, it's more organic. I'm hovering around champ 1 almost to legend. I think in one of these clips we'll be able to see the what do you call it, my ranking. So again, there's too many buffs, so this goes straight into the max version. So you can't double cleave on this one, even though I soul burn, because I wanted to, you know, hit down the Bazaar a bit, and then also with Cdom and Pavel, I know I can also, you know, force T-Cern into her cell and then kill her again with Pavel. RB could work just as well, but RB is not 2-turn, whereas Pavel can knock out T-Cern and then kill off T-Cern. So RB can't do this. And then it's like, unless both of them were like heavy damage, so FCC was a bruiser, there was no problem surviving this. The first stack on ML Crow. I think it was a bruiser FCC, I think I would have had a problem. I could have actually been one shot there. I know my own FCC could have killed my team here.
I won't lose to anyone.
But again, it was a Landy showcase.
There's nothing I can't track.
I'm at the scene.
And yeah, so she gets the
Requesting approval. And
full here, so it's really quick, actually really quick for her to stack her focus.
Should I fight like lots?
So she is very well used in RTA. The bruiser type though, not this one, not this type. Can't really use this unless you have her used for your cleave deck. But you can build bruiser very effectively as a bruiser. Build her as a bruiser very well.
Should I fight like lots?
This one, so we speed contend, and then we got Tempest in. Again, going into these ones, they're blind day. I didn't rehearse, so I didn't know how many buffs they would have. This one worked well because this one had Moonlight Dreamblade, as well as it could have gone into stealth, but it did have Moonlight Dreamblade procced, but the stealth didn't proc, so it actually got lucky. You can see the Rengar Specialty Drink actually kick in and kill off. So again, very good versus Tempest Surin. Good versus Remnant Violet. People that can evade, people that can survive, you know, guaranteed. Yeah, it's a 224. This one again, assuming that some of them would be on immunity. Again, it can't proc counter, can't proc Elbrus. So in terms of like a J Kisei versus Landy, having J Kisei on immunity is important in case like someone can provoke her second turn. Landy's case, you can't, they can't provoke her in terms of a counter provoke. So that's why you can go crit set on Landy if you want to build it like this. So I would say that this is more like a equivalent to a J Kisei type cleave, but like I explained at the beginning, it is a bit different. So Pavel still featured here a bit, very easy to use. Good two-turn cleaver. It was a holy sacrifice. This took me off guard. Again, no rehearsal on these, so I actually didn't know. Otherwise, I think my rotation would have been a bit different in terms of who I killed off first and who I killed off last. But it was still low risk just because I had all these DPS, and Charles can't stand still cleave everyone here. At least not that slow. It did for my C-Dom because she had a death break.
Did you see that? Aren't I amazing? I won't lose.
Alright, so now featuring a bit of more RNG as well. Again, Remnant Violet. I brought a LQC into this one just for the heck of it. Remember, there is a CR boost on Landy's S3. So again, very fitting for like a full cleave type comp. So LQC gets a push. I think I hit the Remnant Violet there. I think I did. Because that damage is too much, I think. But anyways, that was the defense penetration version. Killed off the Lilius first. Because she had a turn. And then the splash damage from LQC is very nice. I have her on Hell Cutter here because I knew that it would take a couple turns before I can even get a turn on my LQC. Therefore the Hell Cutter. Otherwise Cigar Scythe would be pretty decent. Not for this comp though, but Hell Cutter, maybe Portrait. Hell Cutter is good just because the stacked attack for that splash damage.
I'll show you my ability. I'm strong.
And I just featuring again her S1, as I noted, like it hits pretty hard, 9.5k. It hits pretty hard. And then the CR boost with her speed buff, you know, it's like everything added together is just pretty crazy.
I'll show you my ability.
Guiding Light, so there was 3 buffs. So this one was good because the immunity would always stay. So this ended up being 5 exact buffs. So yeah, this is what I was saying as well. Landy Cleave honestly needs some thinking of like if you don't, you know, rehearse it either in Guild War, like you don't have a scouter, if you don't rehearse it, or in Arena you don't like know what they have, you definitely have to just keep in mind of like how many potential buffs can you get on your second turn. That is definitely something that makes Landy Cleave less consistent than J-Kisei. Because unless you have that information, you really don't know if you can do a double cleave, which is usually instant delete for the entire team. This one again going straight into it, but I brought the Pavel there because Pavel is very good. If you don't want to use the souls on Landy, Pavel is really good to use as a follow-up. As you can see, all my souls are untouched here from the 2 mages, and so Pavel will guarantee one, and I could soul burn C-Dom. I got lucky with that hit. I wasn't even sure if I could kill Remnant Violet in this one, but I just ended up showcasing it. A bit of RNG on my side for sure. It's like 21,000. I assumed that this was damage dealer, but it had no crit rate, or I got really lucky. 21,000 HP is very low. Again, I think this is hovering still high champ, like champ 1, almost legend. On blind day. Again, featuring this again, that stack, very quick. So the benefit about Landy is that if you have to use the full focus S3 right away, it is really quick for her to get it back for another one later, but that depends if you can survive. This was Alina, again, showing all these like counter cleave teams getting cleaved. This is obviously not, this is a new week, this is not the same week for the blind day. We got Alina, which is counter cleave. We have Kayron, which is technically counter cleave as well. I was just thinking if I should burn it. Sometimes I go double burn, but then you won't get triple cleave. I hit the Kayron, which is very important in this fight. I think it may have been a counter Kayron as well, based on the speed. It's very slow, it's like Rowana. But again, you know, you don't count proc counter, so it's very good. I got unlucky there, very unlucky. I remember this one actually. But I remember I got lucky in one sense. So I kind of figured that this was a counter Kayron. No point to keep hitting Kayron anyway. If there's any healer, let's say Rowan as a counter with Celestine, it's good to have Kayron healed because he does more damage with lower HP. So I was trying to go for like not hit him as much as possible. I got lucky in this sense that he went for my Falcon Cleary, which is very tanky. So I ended up winning with this one. If it hit the Landy, he would have survived for one turn. My Cleary would have still survived, but still, that was nice. Tomomo, my wife. Alright, so this one's good too. This one, there's like with just Last Rider Crowd without FCC, it's generally very good for Landy Cleave, because even if they all had immunity, unless there was like a Guiding Light or Remnant Violet, it has an evasion buff. You could do the calculation really easy. Just you know, make sure it's not at 5, and then you can ensure double cleave as long as Remnant or Last Rider Crow is on the defense because of his barrier proc. One thing to note though is that with Last Rider Crow, if you have Rengar Specialty Drink and your drink proc like damages through the barrier after the hit, you will lose that buff, right? So if you know what I mean, if you needed the barrier to make sure that you have enough on your focus, Rengar Specialty Drink will eat through the barrier before her next turn. So you will lose the barrier buff, and then that will cause miscalculation on your part. But so the stealth there is pretty good on the Celine, even though it wasn't ideal, because it gave an extra buff that I didn't want on the first hit. So I needed to burn it because RB. So in this case, I was just hoping that I could just, you know, survive Tempest Surge Cleave, yeah. I had to burn the Lilith because I needed to kill her no matter what. It's the only way I could have won this one. It even crit my Gunther.
You won't forget what happens today.
Gunther is really good against, like, you should build him if you're gonna counter Celine. Most people in Arena run Celine not on the stealthy E. I think it's just because like they're thinking if you're gonna cleave with your strongest anyway. But Gunther's a really good bait. If they go for the stealthy E, there is a 25% chance that it won't hit the actual cleaver, and if they're gonna use a Celine to counter cleave, then they have to basically default to that EE. Celine and RTA best used for the stealthy E though. It's best to have RNG, so they can't run that kind of bait that I did. I don't even know why I really brought Tenebria to this one. I just wanted to like play around with like different teams and stuff, I guess. It's mainly for the souls, but it was still kind of a weird one, just because like it wouldn't really bring much to the table. I should have like brought like a what do you call it, Pavel again for that RB, because Pavel can two-shot him. I don't even remember how I beat this one, to be honest. I mean, I'm doing these voiceover commentaries after the clips, after my edits, but I actually don't remember what I did to win this one.
I will show you the power of Nixie. You may try to defy me. Cute. I want to torment you. Leave it to me.
I think my Tenebria may have clutched it. My Tenebria is really tanky. RB can't one-shot her, but still curious what I did. So I had to burn it. Make sure he doesn't get 2 cleaves. Oh, that's how I won. Okay, it just didn't proc, I guess.
Look at me. Let's play together.
Oh, it was on Moonlight Dreamblade. Ah, I see.
I'll show you my ability.
Alright, so this one was just a speed contend, and again, it would be enough buffs to double cleave, which means that T-Serin would die. Because drink. And also double push. My Serin is not geared, my Shuri is geared, counter set, but level 50. So it just really goes to show, I mean, we really only have one DPS in this fight, which is Landy. Again, very good against this meta.
Should I fight like Lots? Don't waste my time.
Shall we bring this to a close?
28,000 HP. Last Rider Crow. It's pretty high. There's a counter there. Counter's not really good on Rowana.
Won't lose to anyone. Now's my time to shine.
But Shuri's CR boost is higher than Rowana's passive boost.
One shot is all it will take. Should I fight like lots?
Why not surrender?
Had to showcase this, of course. Could have shot him with a S1, but had to use the S3. Did a lot of damage.
I'll show you my ability.
Another Celine one. This was pretty fun. I assumed that it would be on an attack buff one, like with an attack buff artifact. And then now it's perfect because now we have 3. And I was hoping that Remnant Violet was on with Moonlight Dreamblade, but it didn't matter. We missed the first one. But it showcased how much damage it does, that drink. So I think when SSB comes back, or if she comes back, Rengar Specialty Drink has got to be another. You got to pull 2, basically. One for SSB, and I think one for Landy, just in case. But we may see Rangers that, you know, do really good AoE damage in the future. So Drink might be another one to invest in. Another one, again, 2 fires. So just, again, it's just really, I'm pushing the threshold of, like, risk, but just showcasing that the... Like, you can see I've missed Kayron. Remnant Violet hardly tanked anything here. With the double cleave, even with the miss, it just does so much damage. Just crazy. This one, brought Falcon and Cleary again. This one I did succeed. Because everybody's dead, so I didn't need to soul burn. I think I soul burned my Falcon and Cleary here. And the Kayron, once he's stripped, honestly, there's not much he could do. Yeah, I did soul burn it. So it's pretty cool. I mean, just like bring 2 Earth heroes into 2 fires.
Did you see that? I won't lose to anyone.
All right, here you go. Another crazy thief. You got the Celine. You got you know, anti-cleave with evasion, anti-cleave with Tempesturin, and again, Landy is gonna showcase everything here. The only issue was the not proc, the non-proc. On this one, so this one was not ideal. This one's not ideal. There wasn't enough buffs. We were just 1 off. Got lucky on that one, but the soul burn was necessary to kill off the Remnant Violet. Tempesturin is okay once everybody is dead. She's really easy to fight. But he had to kill off everything else. That Uberius Tooth, that the dual attack was actually that was OP. The Gunther, man. Gunther's really good against the Remnant Violet and T-Serin as well. Just in case people don't know. So he wasn't just like an empty bait, although he was a bait in this one. But in case my Landy everything else died, Gunther is a hard counter to those 2 as well. With Uberius Tooth even more so. Speed contend, but I decided not to go with the speed imprint. That's interesting. Actually, I usually would. For Broman, I usually would. Tenebria, there's 3 buffs on each, but then the Celine died. But it's good. Good. It's just very addicting to do it. Alright, so that's my Landy showcase video. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you, you know, if you opt for a bruiser Landy, in my opinion, if I did RTA a lot more, I think that's where I should go. Bruiser Landy. The only thing is that I don't have as much bruiser gear as I want. What I feel would be more comfortable bruisers to use are already on bruiser gear, and I'm just recently getting a lot of DPS gear, so I just had a lot of stuff that's laying around. I'm like, okay, let's play with this Landy, and I just love her to death. So like to sum up, J Kisei Cleave versus Landy Cleave. Obviously, there's gonna be pros and cons. J Kisei can't miss in terms of elemental disadvantage. Landy can. I feel Landy brings more punch to the predominant like tankier defenses right now. J Kisei can still cleave through it. and especially you'd most likely pair with like a C-Dom and maybe an RB to clean up or something like that. But the same thing for Landy, you can do that as well, but I feel like Landy can do the job herself. For these bigger videos, because it takes like, you know, multiple days or even sometimes weeks to collect the right footage or the right teams, I definitely have to give a big shout out to my Patreon family. Those people who support me on Patreon: Legacy, Azure, Deekboy, RG Fuo, Stone Thunder, Torn B, Sean B. Thank you guys so much for supporting me this month as well. And if you're interested in supporting me through Patreon, definitely check it out. I'll leave the link, of course, in the description below. But other than that, Landy, very solid. If you are using bruiser type Landy, go with the guiding light artifact. That artifact is really good. I do now regret not pulling for imprints, but because the Landy dev buff batch was also with Cerise, so 2 limited heroes getting buffed, it definitely shifts into how you consider, you know, should you pull for these heroes now, even if they don't look good on offset. Now that we know Smilegate is not afraid to buff limited heroes, I think they were before. They were like really worried about it because, you know, limited time and then how much people like spend money or don't spend money or don't pull because of like they don't want to make people salty. So I think they avoided for a long time, but then now they're more courageous. They're stepping out, and then now I'd say, you know, yeah, pull an imprint or two, especially if it's a good one, right? Attack one on Landy. She has a pretty high base attack as well, so kind of disappointed. But the way she was before, I really couldn't do it. Anyways, I'm gonna end this for the video recording. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.